Okay, so please confirm you can see my screen so that we can start immediately.
Yes, chapter 2, financial statement analysis. I can see it here.
Exactly. Aisha, please confirm if you can see it.
Yes, I can see your screen, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Good. Okay, so the study text for let me first welcome us to the second live class for May 2025 diet. I welcome us to the second chapter. In the last class, we looked at the first chapter by way of introduction of the case study material. So in this class, we'll be looking at the financial statement analysis, though very, very voluminous. I doubt if we'll be able to conclude in this first class of about 2 hours. But then we'll see what we can cover because there are a lot of calculations. The financial statement analysis is one area the examiner normally tests almost very regularly in each diet. So I'd like you guys to pay attention and let's get value from how to use this chapter to be able to practice the mock exams and the pathfinders, and also some key concepts and key terminologies we'll be looking at in this financial statement analysis. It will help us to be able to navigate and understand how to tackle the requirements in the exams. So by way of introduction, the first unit is the purpose. We'll be looking at the purpose of financial statement analysis. Then we'll be looking at another unit, which is number 1, for the second unit, introduction to the same financial statement analysis. We'll also look at the spectrum, that is the various ranges and interrelation of financial statements to other subjects. Then number 3, or the third unit, we'll be looking at an introduction to the financial statement analysis in the case study exams. Then the fourth unit will define financial statement analysis. The fifth unit will look at types. And the sixth unit will look at techniques, horizontal, vertical, industry average, industry analysis, sector analysis, and the various techniques of financial statement analysis. Number 7, we'll look at ratio analysis, which is a wide and very broad area because we have 5 types: profitability, liquidity, activity, long-term solvency or leverage, then investment. So it's a long, the ratio analysis, that 7th unit is a long discussion because we'll be using examples to calculate the ratio. We'll not just talk about the ratio, but we'll be looking at how to calculate them with a live example. So it's going to be a long trip on that 7th unit. And the financial statement analysis in the case study exams, we'll be looking at that in the 8th unit. In the 9th unit, we'll be looking at using financial statement analysis in the case study exams. How do we use it? How do we apply it? And finally, we'll be looking at the exam focus. How is the exam focused on financial statements analysis and how do we use it to ace the exams? This is very, very important. Okay, so by way of purpose, after this chapter, you'll be equipped and you should be able to explain financial statement analysis in the case study exams. And that's the purpose. The second one is to explain the types of financial statement analysis that may be required in the case study exam. So each diet, there are different types, different ways to evaluate, and it doesn't come the same way. He doesn't use the same type of ratio analysis, or he doesn't test a particular type. So we'll be looking at the requirements and how financial statements align very graphically. Okay, and we'll also we'll be using the various techniques for financial statement analysis, how to apply them, and also understand the use of financial statement analysis in the case study exams. So the purpose is to equip you with this knowledge, and you should be able to navigate and also seamlessly apply all you've learned in the theory and the practice. And from the mock exams, you should be able to ace the exams very seamlessly. All right, so by way of introduction, the case study exams requires an analysis by a potential chartered accountant. So on our way to qualification, we we need the case study exams to be able to analyze financial statements, and these analyses are conducted from a number of different perspectives. So, number one, financial statement analysis is a core professional skill and the subject of this chapter. So the analysis of financial statements and the evaluation is a needed skill for every chartered accountant, not just for case study exams, but in our day-to-day work. So where you work in an audit firm, you work as an accountant in practice, or in the finance department, you need this skill. Every organization must report their financials in a statement by way of the income statement, the SFP, the cash flow, and where it's audited, there are other components of those financial statements you must know. So from those that are coming from maybe foundation skills, or you came from the university and you are given some exemptions, this skill is necessary. It's imperative, and you cannot underplay its importance. So, and that's what we are looking at in detail in this chapter 2. And chapter 3, financial data analysis, is another one where the examiner gravitates towards requirement 2, mostly is from financial data analysis. So take note of this, and by way of introduction, the skill to be able to analyze financial statements and financial data that are not structured via IFRSs or any other regulatory framework of reporting is financial data analysis. And the examiner tends to test both of these skills in chapter 2 and chapter 3. So we'll be looking at most of them in detail to help us glean from them with the time we have. Okay, so these 3 perspectives form the basis for analysis of a business in the case study exams. So number 1, the analysis, you must have that skill. Then number 2, financial statements is a skill you should be able to practice and display on the day of the exam. The financial data analysis, which is in chapter 3, is a core professional skill you need to develop. So those are the 3 basic skills. So these topics may be viewed independently, but the skill of business analysis by any independent professional is to try to combine these analytical perspectives into an integral whole or integrated whole. So fusing both these 3 skills, your analytical skills, financial statement skills, financial data analysis skill, will help you match 3 of them together. And wherever you see them, you'll be able to identify, and you'll be able to use your judgment to provide actionable recommendations and insightful conclusions to your audience or to your clients. This is very important. So these analytical steps are all interrelated, both in terms of scope and time scale. So financial statement analysis, financial data analysis are interrelated in one way or the other. So we've seen in past questions where the examiner will mix past questions, mix financial statement analysis, mix financial data analysis, pimp them, add models to it just to get the test rigorously the understanding of candidates. And at times you hear students say, Kai, ICAN is wicked. No, ICAN is not wicked. It's a top-notch exam, globally recognized. So you need to be able to exercise judgment under pressure. And you should be able to analyze these statements to your client or to your employer, to your audience in real-life scenarios. So the testing and the pressure coming from the exam is just to test how much you've rigorously prepared. And most candidates that are not prepared for the exams always find it very difficult acing it. So it's a serious exam, and I'll indulge you to take it very seriously, because the standard is high and the bar has been set high, but you are up to the task if you know what it takes. I normally quote Zig Ziglar, who always says, just any dummy can succeed if he knows what it takes, which is true. Anybody that wants to pass the exams must know what it takes, put in the efforts, and be able to understand the requirements, and it's very easy to pass, in my opinion. So the analytical steps have their scope and time scale. So we'll be looking at that in detail. All right, so financial statement analysis are analysis of how a business has been performing in its immediate past, informs the financial data analysis, which usually considers a current issue facing the business. So the historical data, most of the times, what the business has done in the past is what the financial statements speak to currently. So we cannot have a financial statement of 2025 yet because we have not finished the financial year. So when you talk of a financial statement for my organization, for example, we're talking of historical, that of 2024. So most of the analysis of how a business has performed is in the past, but you are talking about the past currently. So most of the analysis we are doing in February for our company's financials, if you are in financial reporting, you are in audits, or any department that is in the financial space or finance department space or audit space, you know that everything we are doing currently is on 2024 financial year, which is the immediate past. And it informs the financial data analysis, which usually is considered in the current. So most financial data analysis are current analysis, they are not past analysis. Okay, so the analysis of the business from these two perspectives, the past and the present, is set in the context of operational and strategic analysis, which considers the business from the present to the future. So with what you've done in the past and currently what you are facing, the prediction of the future is easy. When you see somebody's past or the business, what it has done in the past and what is currently doing, you can easily predict the future. And the objective of the case study exam is to assess whether you have the appropriate level of professional skills to become an ICAN chartered accountant. So the procedure or the process is rigorous, I must understand and I must confess, but the benefits are immense because you are equipped with the necessary skills to tackle any financial situation in future. So one of the primary skills expected of a chartered accountant or a candidate, as most of us are in the process, is the ability to perform financial analysis on a business. So this skill is very important. So we are expected to, after this rigorous training from corporate reporting to case study, you should be able to perform analysis on a business, understanding the financial story, understanding the past, the present, and how to predict the future. So financial analysis covers a range of topics. So we are currently on the spectrum, unit 2 of the financial statement analysis. So we'll be going like that. I may not mention the units so that we can run. It's going to be a long ride. Okay, so financial analysis covers a range of topics, including an analytical review of the financial statements prepared by an organization. So once an organization's financial statements are ready, and most of the times in the case study exams, you find that you are presented with a case, including financial statements and data. So your job is to perform analysis on this set of financials provided to you. And the organization has prepared that, and you are to analyze and consider the current viability of the specific project or course of action and the assessment of a future proposal. So the spectrum or the wide range of subjects you'll be provided with includes financial statements, financial data, and other non-financial information you will need to work on in form of requirement 1, 2, which has been really pimped to some extent by the examiner to test your understanding of the whole case study package. Okay, so the range of analysis is therefore both over time, that is from analysis of past performance like we spoke about, through current assessment of relevant operations to future operational and strategic actions. So this analysis, we're talking about past performance and the current, that will help you predict future operational issues and how to provide advice on strategic actions that must be taken in form of actionable recommendations to help the business move forward. So the spectrum we're talking about, covers the whole business financial activity, which we are looking at from consideration of the performance of a single revenue stream or multiple revenue streams accessing investment opportunities that affects the whole organization. So the revenue area, the revenue centers of the organization is one first top issue we must put in cognizance. So the revenue, the income, without any dilutions or deductions, is the first area or the first spectrum we must tackle. And also investment opportunities, how to turn that revenue and multiply it is an analysis we must employ in the financial statements and financial data analysis. So this affects an organization expressly and helps them and moves them forward from where they are or from the pit. If the organization is nosediving, you provide advice on how to bring them out of that unwanted situation. Now, one of our expertise as chartered accountants or as students in financial analysis is this necessary skill for a chartered accountant. So this expertise to be able to analyze, tell the financial story behind the exhibits is a skill we must employ, and we should be able to do that by practice and practice and practice. This is very important. Now, the financial statements of a business provides the numerical summary. So we are looking at Unit 3. I'm just done with Unit 2, so I'll be running. Currently, we are in Unit 3, talking about the financial statements of a business. Provides the numerical summary. So it only or basically deals with number crunching. We're looking at the financial story and the numerical summary of the business activities over a period of time, say 1 year, 3 months, 6 months. That's a quarter, half a year, and a full year. So in our system, the IFRS framework provides our financial statements be prepared over a 12-year period. So it could be January to December. It could be within the months, but it has to cover 12 months period. So the ability of a chartered accountant or candidates to read, understand, evaluate, and eventually explain that summary to a client is a critical and very important skill. So we should be able to read, understand, and explain to somebody that doesn't have financial background or understanding of the financial statements you've prepared. You should be able to understand from succinct language and just read your report and know, oh, okay, this is what you mean exactly. And it deciphers and comprehensively understands what you mean. This is key. So within the framework of the case study exams, this skill is tested in a number of ways, but is most explicitly tested by examining a candidate's competency in financial statements. So the financial statements, ability to read, bring out the key issues and explain them in an examination condition or the case study exam condition. Testing your ability to analyze this is the essence of the case study exam. So within the framework, the exam does the essence. It's not just to toughen it to make you fail. No, that's not the purpose. The purpose is to test you to see if you can really apply what you've learned in practice, and that's the essence of the exams. Now, this ability to understand, after you've read, decipher the cases, then you evaluate and analyze the information contained in the set of financial statements, and then present that analysis in a succinct and comprehensive way to the reader is what demonstrates your skills. So our understanding of financial statements first, the evaluation, looking at risks, assessment of the case, and analysis of the numbers and every other information contained in that financial statement is what makes you a chartered accountant and is a key element for you to be able to succeed in the case study exam. This is very important. So please take note of these very important words and the analysis so that when you are practicing and as our exams, our mock exams are coming up, for some of us attempting for the first time or you're attempting the paper, analysis is very important, and taking note of this is what gives you an edge as a candidate. Now, ICAN does not just prepare people to pass exams. No, you will find these issues practically where you work, whether you're an accountant in practice or in business, you will find it where you work. So you find out that the case study exams has helped you and prepared you for the business world. This is very important. So you're navigating the boardroom. For example, I work as an internal auditor, and most of the analysis I do to the board of directors has the case study exams, and the ICAN qualification framework or curriculum has really helped me to be able to navigate complex business scenarios in my office and other businesses where I'm asked to, or I'm consulted to provide advice. So don't just pass the exams, understand the nitty-gritties, the pressure, and the brain work you need to put in, the grind, to be able to bring to bear these theoretical and practical aspects of what you're going through during these exams. You will pass the exams by God's grace, of course, but then you get to the real world business and being able to apply this to tell maybe your board of directors, your supervisor, whoever you are reporting to, or your client, that this is what you are bringing out for them to be able to make advice is a key element of succeeding in the case study exam. So beyond passing the exams, adding value in the real business world should be your goal. Accountants are value adders, chartered accountant. And that's why when they look at you, they say you are ICAN. They will look at you with a second eye. Why? Because they know what you went through to have that certificate, and the bar has been set high. So a lot is expected from you. You need to ensure that this key skill and element is embedded and you don't lose track of it in the business world. This is very important. So always remember that in the case study exams, your financial statement analysis work is to enable you demonstrate a critical important skill through your answers in the examination question. So the financial statement analysis, the work you do, the appendices, the calculation, and your reporting is an important skill. So number crunching and also report writing are the two key skills, remember, needed to ace the case study exam. So by working from information supplied and using the professional skills you have developed, both at work and through your studies, you should be offering clearly explained analysis and providing a critical professional evaluation of the numerical information reviewed. So whatever it is we are asked to do in the requirements, we should be working with experience from our office. Majority of us are currently employed. If you are not employed, you must have something you are doing or a business that earns you money, or you're running your own business. But then the accounting, like I used to say, or like a lot of people say, is the language of business. So even if you own your business, you should be able to interpret one or two things and explain it from the accounting perspective. And as a professional, injecting your expertise into your business, it's really good to help you move the business from just a locally run business to a professionally run business. So even if you work on your own with your own company, and the experiences you garner from there, and also that of the experiences you garner from your office, will help you in the case study exams. Most scenarios in the case study exams are real. In fact, if not all scenarios, they are real and practical scenarios that happen in a business. So that experience, you should be able to offer and explain analysis based on what you've experienced in the office, and write and explain to the business or to your employer what you're going through, or what the business has gone through, and what the trajectory is and what the future could be. So the antecedents will provide the past experiences and currently what the business is going through, and you could predict the future and how the results will be on a futuristic basis. So the numerical review you do, telling the financial story from speaking based on the headers, looking at the financial story, you are able to provide with information on what the business is going through, fine. But then the conclusion of it must be coined out. You must draft out the conclusion of what you've spoken. So when you tell a financial story, you should be able to conclude on that story and recommend or provide lessons. So in financial statement or in the case study exams, you've told the story of what has happened based on the numbers. You should be able to provide clear conclusion. Your conclusion is, in my opinion, the statement of the problem, and your recommendation is the solution to that problem. So In order to arrive at logical conclusions and recommendations, you must have told the story by a report description of what the case is all about. Okay, so we go to Unit 4. We are running fast so that we can meet up. We have 10 units like I introduced, so gone fast, and don't mind, please, if you have a question, just raise your hand like we've been saying. Interject, you're free to interject. It's not preaching, it's teaching, so it's an interaction. Please engage. If you have one or two things on the slide, just raise your hand and I will stop to pick your question or your contribution. Okay, so we are in Unit 4. Let's define financial statement analysis. It's an evaluation and explanation. So you see, financial statement analysis did not define numbers. That is calculation. Take note of that. Take note of that. Fantastic. Okay, so I will stop and pick Salmat Shaibu's question. Please, Salmat, go ahead, unmute yourself and speak.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Salmat. Nice to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I just heard you said there is a slide. I really can't see any slide displaying here on my screen. I don't know.
Oh, fantastic. Are you using your phone or your PC?
My phone.
Oh, okay. Maybe your network is not. Any other person has that challenge? Anybody has the challenge of not seeing the screen?
I'm fine. I can see the screen very clearly here.
Thank you for that feedback, namesake. Any other person? Aisha, do you have that challenge? Julie, do you have that challenge?
No, I do not have the challenge.
I can see the screen very clearly.
I can see the screen.
Good evening, sir.
Fantastic. Yeah, good evening. You're welcome. Okay, maybe Salmat, can you log out and come back? Let's see. Maybe it's
yes, sir.
Okay. Please do that. We'll hold on in the next 2 minutes to see if you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so log out and come back. Apologies, let's give her a minute or two, please. Okay, welcome back, Salmat. Any luck?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I can see it now.
Oh, fantastic. Good to know. Okay, so we'll continue now. Unit 4, the definition of financial statement analysis. So putting my thoughts together, the last thoughts. Okay, so I was talking about the definition. Now you look at the evaluation and explanation. So after you've performed number crunching calculations, the evaluation is your ability to analyze your numbers, in story behind your numbers. So the statement, the definition doesn't look at the calculation, and you see calculation is not mentioned. So evaluation and explanation. So you've done your calculation, fine, and I've always reiterated it to tell you that your calculation will not earn you marks in the case study exam. You're not doing financial reporting on SFN. So it earns you very little mark. So financial statement analysis is about explanation, telling the financial story. Let's understand the story behind the numbers. So the story behind your financial statements and other related information contained in the financial statements is the definition. So including summary statements, you're presented in management accounts, budgets, forecast of the business. This analysis covers the financial performance, income statement, statement of changes in equity, the financial position, the SFP, the cash flow statement. All these are calculations, but then you should be able to analyze it and consider the contextual information that is provided on the company and its operating environment. So financial analysis is a process of identifying the financial strengths. Now you're talking about the story, the weakness, which is internal of a company, of a business, or establishing the relationship between the elements of the SFP and also the SCI. So looking at those numbers and integrating them into a report and speaking, your report is telling the financial story to your audience, to your client, to your employer, and whoever is reading it, that this is what is bedeviling the company, and these are the solution to it, is how to analyze financial statements. And this is very important, whether in the case study exams or in real life practice. This is a key skill and what the definition of financial statement analysis is all about. So it is through this process of financial analysis that key performance indicators like the profitability, solvency, long-term and short-term liquidity, and the efficiency of operations are determined. So looking at the numbers, you can bring out the issues from profitability. If the business is profitable, if the business is liquid, it can run its business, it's solvent in running its day-to-day expenses, the investment or the balance between equity and debt is there. So this financial story comes out from your numbers. So the numbers are the foundation, and the speaking to the numbers and the analysis based on these parameters we have provided are the building. So it's the building. You cannot live in a foundation. If you're building a house, the foundation is the calculation, fine, but you can't live in a foundation. You need to build up, roof it, and that is what financial statement analysis is all about in the case study exams and in real life. So bringing out the efficiency and effectiveness of operations are determined, and the short-term and long-term prospect of a business can be evaluated from your analysis. This is very important. So Drake, in 2013, a scholar in financial statement analysis in the US, said financial analysis is the selection, evaluation, and interpretation. So if you're analyzing the income statement, it's a different analysis. If you're analyzing the SFP, it's a different analysis. Statement of changes in equity is a different analysis. The cash flow is a different analysis. So whatever component of financial statement you're selecting or you're asked to work on, you'll be able to interpret the financial data alongside pertinent information to assist in decision making. So the numbers don't make the decisions. It's the interpretation of the numbers that help investors, analysts, and shareholders or stakeholders make informed decisions. This is very important. Financial statement is an organized and systematic collection of data based on logical and consistent accounting principles and procedures for the purpose of conveying an understanding of some financial aspects of a business. So it's a brief definition we've had right from secondary school, university, through our ICAN training. We've always had this definition, but the key issues to note is you collect data, logically calculate them, and also understanding the aspects of the business. Then you should be able to reveal the position of the business at the moment, the results of the series of activities given over the period of time, the content, notwithstanding your communication of these financial statement components is key, and that's what this definition speaks to. So we have the contents of a financial statement. You are all aware, the income statement, which is the SCI based on the IFRS framework, our former profit and loss account. And we have the SFP, the balance sheet, we traditionally call it statement of changes in equity. We also have the statement of cash flows. You see that this information provided in the financial statement is not adequately helpful in drawing meaningful conclusions for making informed judgments. Exactly. So a financial statement does not tell you what is wrong with the business, except somebody analyzes it and speaks to the numbers. So the financial statement is the snapshot of the business performance and position at a period of time. Now, the case study exams helps candidates or chartered accountants to look at the financial statement, tell the financial story, the problem or where the business is and where the business could be. This is very important. So when you look at the financial statement as a chartered accountant from a snapshot or from a bird's view, you should be able to draw meaningful conclusions from the numbers, from each of the components, and make informed decisions, way forward for the business, or explain it to a layman in simple terms. Albert Einstein used to say something: if you cannot explain something, to a 7-year-old, then you don't understand it. So as chartered accountants, you should be able to see somebody and say, this business is making profit by this percentage. You look at a child, you say this business, it was doing 10%, it has moved to 20%, or it was doing 1 naira, it has moved to 2 naira. That's explaining in lay terms, and that's our job as accountants. Complex terminologies should be brought down to decipherable chunks, bits for your audience to understand it. Like I used to say in my board, we don't have a chartered accountant on my board or anybody that have financial background, but I will be able to explain our audit report and our financial report in a way they will understand and say, oh, okay, let's do this to move business forward, because they understand what we've explained. And that's the key skill of a chartered accountant, your explanation, your provision of understanding of the subject. This is very important. And take note of that. And it's very, very key in the case study exams. Sorry, please, can you mute your mic if you're not speaking? Please mute. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so conclusions and making informed judgments is very important. The analysis and interpretation of financial statements is very essential to measure efficiency, profitability, and the financial health. You see, financial health is very important. As chartered accountants, the health of a company can be diagnosed from the financial statements. When you look at the SCI, the income statement, you know whether they are making losses or profit. You know whether this business is sick. When you look at the provision statement, you know whether the company is doing well, whether it's driven by debt or driven by equity. So the diagnosis of a business is applicable to a chartered accountant as a doctor. And you are able to diagnose the sickness and health and write numbers that this business is sick and it will go under if nothing is done. So as a chartered accountant, we have that ability to speak to the numbers. I was currently talking about one of our centers and I was saying there's a problem. We cannot meet our obligations. And if we don't do anything fast, we are going to go down. So that's the job of a chartered accountant. There is a problem. This is it. Okay, the business is doing well. How do you do better? The business is doing better. How do you do best? That is your job. So transitioning from an account assistant, maybe you started a role, moved to the accountant, move to finance manager, move to chief financial officer, move to finance director. You see, from numerical work, you move to calculations. The next thing you move to decision making. And the next thing is to maybe join the board. And you are making strategic decisions. And that's always the point where a chartered accountant reaches. You will not just stop at preparing financial statements. Currently, AI softwares do that for you. You just do your day-to-day transactions, input them. My financial statement is ready, but the decisions, diagnosing the financial health or sickness of the business is key to make them navigate challenges and provide future prospects for the business and the units. So the focus of financial statement analysis is to diagnose the past. What have they done? Their historical performance, and look at the present financial performance and the position of the firm together with insight. So if you have the financial statement, you could predict the future. That's why forecasting and budgeting is possible, because you have past performance. So you just permutate those performance by a percentage. You look at the trajectory, perform the past performance with a percentage, and you can predict the future. So it's very important that you understand the focus is to diagnose first the problem, provide actionable recommendations, and make them smart so that your audience or your client will be able to make decisions on that. Okay, so the focus, however, depends on the person who commissioned the analysis and the purpose of commissioning the analysis. Eugene F. Brigham stated from an investor's perspective that the financial statement analysis is to predict the future performance of the firm, while for management, the purpose of financial statement analysis is to understand the present financial condition as a basis for planning and anticipating future performance and financial condition. I agree with what Eugene Brigham said. Now, you see, an investor wants to look at the business not just to be injecting funds, no, returns. Every investor, his goal is for returns. And that's why he's looking at the future. If I put 1 naira now, how can I get 5 naira? That's an investor's perspective. But management chartered accountants, the CEO, the CFO needs to understand what the business is doing currently, because the current performance of the business is what predicts the future. So in planning, they may want the performance to be better so that in future they report good results. But the current condition is what management want to do. And in the case study exam, you are like a management person. You are analyzing the business to provide management with advice on how to move the business forward. So this definition is long, and it's good to understand these basic terms, that the objective of financial statement analysis is to draw information that will facilitate an evaluation of the SWOT. Okay, let's start with the strength and weakness, because that is internal. When you talk of the strength of the business, you're talking of its internal components and what makes it strong inside. Weakness is also internal of a business. So you evaluate what is the strength, what is their competitive advantage, what do they have in niche, how do they do better than others, then what are the weaknesses, what do they do lower than others.
Hello. Can you hear him?
I can't hear anything
No.
again here too.
No.
Okay.
I
Okay.
guess his network went
Oh,
off.
I thought it was the only one. Okay. I guess it's his network then.
Or could it be the 10 minutes break? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, welcome back, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Apologies. That was a glitch in our network. Pardon me.
Welcome back, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so we have 2 more minutes to go on a 10 minutes break. So let's round up the definition of financial analysis so that we'll come back to Unit 5 and continue. Okay, so we're talking about the strength. My last thought on the strength, which is internal. The opportunities and threats are external to a business, and we'll look at that later. So we also measure by way of we are looking at the objective of financial statement analysis and to draw information to facilitate understanding or evaluating the strength and weakness of the business. Then the measure of profitability, how are they performing? Profitability, the performance of the business entity is part of our evaluation. And we look at the pattern and trend, which we normally call trend analysis in our reporting, of an entity's performance over the years. What have they done in the last 5 years, in the last 3 years? Most of the examiners' exhibits will come with 3-year financial statement summary. You are supposed to do the analysis and the determination of the future earning capacity of the business entity. So when you look at their past, you'll be able to determine the future also. You're also comparing the entity performance and the position. So the performance is in direct relation to the position, looking at their investment in capital, long-term investments, their mixture of equity and debts, and the liabilities, what they owe and what they own in the short and the long run. So this analysis we perform and we are expected to evaluate very critically. Also, the determination of liquidity and solvency. So liquidity is how you're able to run the business in the short term, day to day, week by week, month by month. In that short term, within a month, to see how the business is running without any issues or hitches, and also the assessment of the growth potential of the business entity. So in the short run, you are running, how are you able to navigate and plan for the future. In the next 5 years, where do you see the business? In the next 10, 20, 30 years? Is the business the business a going concern? So these are assessments of how to grow, and they must be consciously employed in the case study. Now, the purpose of the financial statement analysis in your exams is to test your ability to select relevant information. Once you select this information, as the requirement is provided to you, you analyze the information and interpret your analysis to make informed decisions. So we've spoken to that, and this has to do with the past, the current, and the future financial condition and operating performance of the business. So your interpretation is key. Please take note of that. Interpretation. In the ACCA exams, currently number crunching is gradually declining to 45%, and your interpretation is 55% of any ACCA exams, not just calculation exams. As a matter of fact, the SBL, that is like case study in the ACCA, is pure writing and presentation. So number crunching is less than 10% in the exam. So the case study is like that. The purpose is to help you interpret financial data and calculations. So to achieve the objective of being able to interpret data from the financial statement, consideration must be given to other valuable data such as market data, economic data, and operational data. Looking at the environment of the business, you must understand the best tool of the business to be able to understand the wider context. Also, events that may help to explain the company's present condition and thus have a bearing on its future prospects must be considered in the candidate's analysis of the company's financial statements. This is very, very important. So the expectation is that as a qualified chartered accountant with ICAN, you should be able to act as a skilled analyst of these standard financial documents and also communicate this information contained in them using language that is comprehensive, language that is understandable to the client or recipient of any of your analytical work as requested. So the requirement wants you to speak right about your analysis. This is very, very important. Okay, so that will be all for Unit 4. The definition is long for us to be able to understand the financial statements and what it entails in the case study exam. So the 5th unit is the type of financial analysis, and currently it's already 8:53 by my clock. So let's take a 12 minutes break. Let's come back by 9:05 if that's okay for you, okay by us. Let's take a 10 minutes break because I normally say attention spans, especially virtually, is low. So let's take a 10 minutes break, just relax, remove our eyes from the screen, and come back to continue.
So please, before we go for the break.
Okay, yes, please.
Can you go back to slide 4? I think just 2 slides before this. There's something I wanted to get from there.
Okay. So I'm going back. Just stop me if okay.
Unit 4.
Okay, I'm going back. I just hope the screen is toggling because network may not let you.
I think you've gone too far.
Okay, I've gone too far. Okay, let me go forward a bit.
Yeah, here.
Okay. To achieve this objective.
The available data such as market data, economic data. Okay, I'm good. Thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome. I'll also share the slides if you maybe feel the text or the font is bigger than your study text, because this is just the same study text. I'll share the slide like Julie said we should be sharing. So if you don't want to use maybe your study text to read, and you can use the slide. So I'll share it after the class on the platform.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome. So let's go for the 10 minutes break. We'll be back by 9:05 to continue. And if you want to stay on the call, it's fine. I'll just stop recording and we'll continue 9:05. Let's thread